Okay, kind of had an existential breakdown there for a second, but we're back. All right. So yeah, your light power is based on kind of all of your gear. I have this thing I just got. It's kind of only 1800, while the rest is 1810. So if I re-equip 1810 so that everything's 1810, it'll boost it back up. The soft cap is 1800. The soft cap means that regular gear that you get just kind of by playing and doing other stuff is gonna cap out at 1800. The pinnacle cap is 1810. So pinnacle gear is kind of like stuff you'll get from harder challenges or from certain specific game modes that you can only do once a week. Um, I mean, they've kind of. I think they're going to rework this whole system next year or something. A lot of people, like I said, it just kind of it doesn't matter so much anymore. The difference between like 1810 and 1825 is barely like that much. Kind of what matters more are the stats down here. Um, because yeah, these are kind of like this is more about I guess survivability and abilities rather than um, damage output. Um, so the stats are mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, and strength. Um, Resilience is the number one important one. You always want to have 100 in resilience because that's how much life you have, and it'll keep you from uh, taking too much damage. As again, when you hover over stuff, it'll kind of explain everything for you. Um, all the stats. You can max out the stats above 100, but once you reach 100, that's kind of like the most bonuses you're going to get. It's also broken down into a tier system, but it's basically like if something's in between like 90 and 100, it's going to have that's like tier 9. So it's like it doesn't matter if it's 94 or 97. It's all in the same tier, so it's all going to give you the same stats. Either way, like a lot of this stuff is just kind of based on for me it's just like I look at what builds people have made. It's kind of only really important when you get to the end game stuff. Because every piece of gear you have will have different stats on it, and that's kind of the random loot based structure of the game. I think you always want to do resilience for every class. For hunters, mobility is really good because it'll say too like um, each class has its own stat that kind of boosts its abilities. Hunter has mobility, Warlock has recovery, and Titan has strength. Everybody wants to do resilience first. Mobility is just how fast you go for when you're moving around. Recovery is how quickly you regain health. Discipline is just grenades. It determines how long grenades recharge. Intellect is how quickly your super comes back, and strength is how hard you punch for your melee abilities. Intellect is probably the least important. You don't really need intellect because a lot of times your super how quickly your super regenerates will be based on your build with your subclass. Strength isn't important for a warlock. It's not even really that important for titans. A lot of the melee abilities again are based on how quickly your abilities regenerate. Is a lot of how you build your subclass. Discipline's always pretty good because your grenades are usually some of the highest damaging stuff that you can do. Recovery is number one most important stat for warlocks. You always want to have a high recovery for warlocks. You don't need a high mobility for warlocks. A lot of this is just kind of random, and until you get to the cap or the pinnacle cap, just kind of equip what you have to give you the best light power, and then you can kind of start working on min maxing it. And that is where we can go into this menu. So when you get gear, yeah, it'll have the again. You can kind of there's so much little stuff. Like a lot of stuff has lore for some reason. Um, so if you see the lore, you can read it. A lot of it's just kind of these weird little short story things. I've not read a lot of those. You kind of want to switch this. This shows each individual gear's stats. So when you get a new piece of armor, it has a random amount of energy. How much energy it has determines how many mods you can equip to it. Mods do a bunch of different stuff. The first slot here is just about boosting your stats. So as you can see, this one only has 3 energy, so I can equip a mod that has 3 energy, like this mobility mod. But I can't equip like a more expensive one, like the 4 energy recovery mod. Like I said, you always kind of want to boost resilience, so those ones are a little bit more expensive. This is just nothing. I don't. That's just like junk. But yeah, it costs legendary shards and glimmer to boost. Once you level up a couple of times, yeah, then it starts to cost more. This is what enhancement cores are for. And then even the further it goes, when I try to max it out, it'll cost enhancement shards and then enhancement prisms. But yeah, like again, a lot of this stuff is just kind of like higher end min maxing stuff. Like again, I just look up builds that people have made online because some people live and breathe this stuff. But it can be like stuff like until until we get to that point, it's a lot of little things. It's like helps you find special ammo, can help you find heavy ammo, better versions of those mods. There's stuff that boosts stuff that determines how you create orbs of power, which are the little orbs that pop out that help you regenerate your super. A lot of this build crafting stuff is built around generating orbs and picking them up. I mean, for the most part, you can just kind of mess around with this and see what looks fun, what looks neat. Like if you're focusing on a stasis, a void build or something, you can kind of have it produce more orbs of power. You can make it so that I guess the head one is all about orbs of power. Looks like, or how much more accurate your weapons are. Um, yeah, so this is how you level up the gear. Leveling up gear gives you energy. Energy allows you to equip more mods. The maximum amount of energy is 10, so then it kind of becomes like fitting it all in. You already kind of know about infusing. You just kind of sacrifice something to use an upgrade model to get it all the way there. Appearance, yeah, you can change the shaders. You can favorite shaders with, what is that button? The shift button. This is kind of ornaments. I think we kind of talked about a little bit. Ornaments are yeah, just cosmetics you can put over the mask or over the armor, so you can kind of like once you unlock it, or like these. Oh, these 4 up here are ones that I got from the seasons, so they give you just ornaments. Then these ones I've unlocked with the stuff you get from A to 1 to kind of just change the way you look. It's like these are ornaments like this you'll get from the shop. Ornaments like this you'll make yourself by unlocking it with the Ada stuff. I think that's kind of it for there. When you're equipping your armor, also when you level, see how this one has just a white border and this one has a gold border. So this when you level some piece of armor all the way up, or even a weapon all the way up, like this one's got a gold border too versus these white ones. When you level it all the way up to 10, that's called masterworking, and that uses up all of your that'll use up your enhancement cores, your enhancement prisms, and your ascendant shards. So that's what these guys are for. They're for leveling up armor and weapons. I think I'll go back into a better breakdown of that. So yeah, when you're wearing armor, you can only wear one exotic piece at a time. Like if you try to, it's like, nope, can't do that. You can only wear one at a time. Exotic pieces usually, most regular armor doesn't affect only affects your stats, and then only affects what mods you can equip. Exotic armor gives you something special. Like for my hunter, this one gives me a second dodge charge, which is really good, so I can like dodge twice in a row. And this build is kind of built around being able to dodge a lot. I don't know what else is here on the armor side. This clan banner thing, I don't know what this is. Like I have a little flag, and I can change that. That's it. That's kind of all it was. I think your clan levels up over the course of the season based on what you and your other friends do, and then it gives you like tiny little bonuses. That's another menu. We'll look at that later. And then I guess just going down the other side. So yeah, your subclasses. Um, I don't know how much you've unlocked. A lot of the stuff you have to pay for from Ikora, but basically each subclass has a handful of supers you can do. Some have more than others. This one's got a lot. I think the Void Warlock only has like two. Again, this when you're just playing out, this is kind of like preference. It's like whatever one you. This one shoots like an arrow. This one shoots like two arrows. This one I run around with swords. So for now, when you're just kind of playing until you get to the cap, it's just kind of pick what sounds good, what sounds fun. Um, you have different dodges for a hunter. For a warlock, you'll have different rifts that you can do. Different types of jumps. You kind of want to unlock each jump and see which one you feels best. I think the hunter's triple jump is the best one for the hunter. For the warlock, I always prefer the strafe lift so that I can have a little bit more um, control when I'm in the air. Hunters and warlocks only have like one melee ability for some of these builds. Again, a lot of stuff you pay for from my core. I think I'll go to the tower and show where that is. Same thing with grenades. Just kind of like if it sounds cool, buy it, try it out. You'll find ones that you think are really cool and the ones that aren't. Like I don't. This one's not very good. It sounds cool, but it just kind of doesn't do any damage. This one's pretty good. Aspects. This stuff is just kind of all whatever. This doesn't really affect your build. Just kind of like personal preference until you get into build crafting, and even then, the grenade's kind of the only one that matters. Aspects kind of change how your character plays, and there's usually like 3 or 4 depending on the class. You can equip 2 aspects at a time. Like this one allows me to become invisible and make other people invisible, and I could do that, or I could equip this one that just allows me to become invisible, and then this one also this build's all about being invisible. So this one's just kind of like I can kill people and become invisible, or I can dodge or I can make other people invisible, or I could yeah. So this stuff is just kind of like in the beginning you just kind of want to pick one, whatever sounds fun, whatever sounds cool. For some classes, this changes like how your melee works. Let me see. What's a good? Yeah, this one changes. So like if I dodge and punch somebody, I'll recharge my punch. Uh, this is all about like what your electricity powers do versus like being able to slide. Yeah, sometimes you get an aspect like this that kind of changes how your melee works. There's a lot of them that are in like charge. That a lot of them are built around like sliding and meleeing at the same time, and they'll do like some special attack. So that's kind of what aspects do. They just kind of change how your abilities work, how your melee works. They'll some are better than others. Kind of like I don't know what else to say about that. Like this, yeah. See, the Void only had one melee option. This one has 2. A lot of them kind of have the same amount of grenades. If we go back to Void. And then fragments are also kind of like, this is really into the weeds of the min-maxing stuff. So like you kind of set your aspects, that changes how you play, and then the fragments just kind of like get like really little details. Like yeah, this one like adds buffs or the buffs last longer. And again, like if when you hover over a lot of this stuff, it'll explain all the keywords on the sides here. Like I think you asked what Devour is, and it was just kind of like, yeah, you get health when you do Void damage. Void abilities also can give you shields. Yeah, there's some of you can only, I think, equip 4 fragments at a time. It kind of depends on what aspects you have equipped, and it'll say that it's like how many fragment slots there are. I think most just give 2 fragment slots now, because that was kind of a lot. Some of them gave you fewer, but they changed that. So you can usually equip 4. Again, it's like, well, you're just kind of running around having fun, just kind of like pick ones that sound good. You know, finishers make me invisible. That's a pretty good one. These kind of like the mods, these will kind of help you make orbs of power. There's like, I don't know, a lot of these, and some of them are kind of like, why would I ever do that? And some other ones are like, if I, yeah. This, again, I just look up builds online, and then I just kind of have them tell me what to do, and then I follow that. And sometimes it's, until you're at that point, you can just kind of like pick and choose whatever you want, or save your money, because I think you have to buy these too. I'll go to the tower and talk to Ikora and show you that menu. I don't know what about. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Guns. I think, yeah, we've kind of been over guns. You get guns. Primary ammo doesn't cost you. Primary ammo is infinite. Special ammo you have to pick up off the ground. Usually primary ammo weapons do less damage than special ammo weapons. This is a strand gun. What are those? For the guns, a lot of these, I don't know. Gun stats don't matter at all. I don't think, like, a lot of those, like the impact, the range, the stability, that stuff is just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. It's like it's just kind of like, does the gun feel good to use? That's kind of what I always look at. Guns are the same as armor. Sort of. I mean, when you, instead of like, there's kind of a lot to explain here, but when you want to upgrade the gun, it's this menu here. Like, this boosts, I can boost its light level, but this kind of like, yeah, guns go up to tier 10. Same thing as the armor. You can level it up to max. It uses the same stuff, the glimmer, the legendary shards, enhancement cores. Every time you boost it, it'll add, it'll improve the stats. Like, if I do this, it boosted the range like 1 point. It's usually a little small incremental changes until you get to the 10th tier, and then it'll max it out. This is like a mod slot for your guns that'll help you just kind of have a bigger magazine, do more damage against bosses. Again, these are just kind of like, you should have access to all of these. Maybe you don't. You used to have to buy these, but then they got rid of that system, so hopefully they're just available to you. Again, it's just kind of like, pick what sounds best. Like, if you want to do more damage too, if you want to use like a weapon that you're using to do damage against smaller enemies, if you want the weapon to be like a special ammo weapon is good for doing more damage to bosses and bigger enemies. Yeah, the shader stuff is kind of like, you know what that is. Every weapons have perks. These are this is how the looter stuff changes. All these things can be different depending on which gun you pick. Some of them have options, like these guys are locked in place, but these ones I can like switch one of these stats and it'll tell you what it does. Increases the magazine size, increases stability, and then it'll show you over here when you switch it how the stats change. Sometimes it's pretty obvious. It's like, oh, I kind of want this one. Sometimes, again, a lot of this stuff is like getting into the weeds of the min-maxing and like kind of really, I don't have a lot of options on this guy either. I don't know if we've unlocked weapon crafting for you yet. But when a gun has this symbol on the bottom of it, this like 4 squares, you can craft it. So when you get some weapons, you just get the ability to craft right away. Other ones, you have to unlock a pattern for it. And then when you craft a weapon, you get to choose what all the perks are. This is just like killing track. So if it's like if you want to, I don't know how many kills you get in Crucible and Gambit. It's like I don't really care about that. Should put a mod on this gun. So yeah, I think if we do the Witch Queen stuff, we'll unlock weapon crafting there, and then I'll kind of do a tutorial for it. But it's basically like, I like building my own weapons and kind of choosing what perks I want to use rather than just having it be random. Yeah, and then crafting weapons, if you want to make a masterworked like this guy, it costs a little bit more but allows you to get a little bit better perks. You can also kind of like spend resources to level weapons. Oh yeah, when you craft a weapon, it has levels, and you can level it up. The higher the level, up to like 30, the better perks you have. Like this guy's 41. This guy I don't use very much. He's like 11. This guy's 8, level 8. So you can gain experience the more you use it, and that'll kind of unlock better stats. Up to masterwork them. Usually their perks are pretty locked in place. Some of them have other options you can change. Exotic weapons, also like the exotic armor, they usually have some special thing going on about them. And then they have exotic weapons have catalysts. This is how do I explain it? It's just kind of like a bonus. You have to unlock the catalyst or find it. Sometimes a quest is involved. Sometimes they just randomly drop if you have the weapon already. And then you have to do the quest to unlock the catalyst. The catalyst will then masterwork it, like this guy. I have the catalyst. Masterworked it. Just made it like just boosted its abilities. This guy can shoot like a grenade, and so it made the grenade a little bit stronger. I think that's it for weapons. Oh, these symbols are for champions. We haven't really played harder content that has champions in it. Champions are just kind of like bigger enemies that are basically, they'll either be really hard to kill or really hard to stop. And if you don't like focus on them or stun them, they'll regenerate their health, or they'll just not stop attacking you. So some it's hard to, yeah, if there's like stuff that you go to play and it's like legendary difficulty or master difficulty, they'll have champions in it. I think I can show that when I go over to the director, or I can just show it right now. If you go to the director and you go to like the Vanguard playlist, this is like the regular playlist. This is the Nightfall playlists. So when you click on these, it'll show you, hey, there's going to be champions here. There's going to be a barrier and unstoppable champions. So it's like when you select the harder difficulty stuff like these. I didn't want this menu. Like these, it'll have champions in it. There's also what else has champions in it? When you do like not the legendary campaign, that's just harder. When you do like this, I'm really out of here. Like this will have champions in it too. Woo! Get out of that menu. Get out of that menu. So each season you have the seasonal artifact, and that kind of determines how you can stun a champion. Some abilities, it'll tell you in this menu, some abilities will stun champions. Barriers, after you do enough damage, a barrier will activate around them. You have to hit them with either one of these abilities or with a auto rifle. This season, Unstoppable, they'll just keep attacking you until you stun them. Overload, they regenerate unless you stun them, so they'll just be regenerating their health all the time until you stun them. this, yeah, this stuff isn't really that important right now until we start doing like really harder content. It's good to know, it's like what it means. Like these are the three types of champions, and then if you hover over it, it'll tell you what abilities can do it. The seasonal artifact kind of determines what options you have. Like yeah. So this is a system that kind of changes each season. You get a different artifact. Even if you didn't pay for it, I think you still have this artifact. I don't know if you have. You might have access to all of this stuff. I'm not sure. You kind of unlock more points as you level up the season experience. The maximum amount is 12. So you can kind of choose what weapons will be able to stun champions. So it's like I've just been going with these guys because it's easier. This artifact stuff, it changes every season. It's kind of a way to just keep things fresh. A lot of times, if you even have access to this menu, a lot of times it's just kind of like how it affects your mods. Like this is all about the mods on the armor. This is kind of like some abilities that guns have. This is more mods on the armor. Every couple of points, every couple of slots you unlock will unlock another thing. This season it's all about like these orbs that you can pick up and throw. This is a tangle build, so I want to pick up tangles. And a lot of this stuff is just kind of like, what does it sound good? You know, like this one's good for me. I'm not really using those kind of weapons that much, so that one doesn't matter. This one sounds good. That's good for me. These ones I think are good too. Again, a lot of this stuff can just kind of be like what your preference is, and then when you look at a build video, for me at least, they'll kind of like go into the weeds on how to min max it. Your ghosts, I probably should have. That's kind of the stuff that's probably more important to you right now. Ghosts, just like weapons and armor, you can level up their energy. Every ghost is different though. Whoop. Like the ghost shell is just kind of like the ghost's costume, but it's not like an ornament. Like I can't equip this to a ghost that's already leveled up. I've got to level this guy up from the beginning. Same deal, same resources, glimmer, legendary shards, enhancement cores, enhancement shards. But it's usually a lot cheaper, so it's easier to like max out a couple of these based on like your preference. Like I have a couple that have maxed energy. Same thing with the armor. The more energy you have, the more mods you can equip to it. This one's just all experience. You get more experience. This one's just about like seeing the stuff in the world. Like if you like you can find chests easier. You can find resources easier. Like the little things that you pick up. The resources aren't really important. They used to be a lot more important. They're kind of just like ways to get a little glimmer now. So these all boost glimmer, so you can like increase the maximum amount. Again, it's like they all cost so much energy to equip. I'm just kind of boosting experience so that I can get all the stuff. Then you can kind of equip these if you want to get. Again, this is kind of like into the weeds of the later kind of min-maxing stuff, but these determine the kind of stats that your armor will have whenever you get a random piece of armor. It's like, because discipline is so good for like regenerating your grenades, I just have this equipped, so any random piece of armor I get will more likely have higher discipline. You probably don't really have to worry about that right now. Obtain harvesting. I've never equipped that one. I don't need that one. That one's fun if you're doing a lot of public events and you want to get a lot of glimmer quickly. I never equip these. These are just like if you want to you have a higher chance of getting certain gear from playing Gambit or Crucible or Vanguard Strikes or what have you. So yeah, like the Ghost has so this can help kind of set you up if you want to focus on just leveling up and getting stuff from the season pass, or if you just want to get a lot of glimmer. That's kind of what I ever use these for. Sometimes you'll have a challenge that's like open so many chests in an area. Um, so you kind of want to swap them out. Yeah, and it costs nothing. You can just like unequip it, come over here, equip something else. These don't cost anything to kind of like swap around. It's just kind of like how much energy you have to work with. Like I can switch this if I want to like focus on getting a ton of glimmer instead. Um, but usually I just keep it like this because the more experience I get, the more like stuff I can unlock from the store. Sorry to go. I think that's pretty much everything that I've covered on this page. Ghosts have. I missed that. Ghosts have both the colors that you can equip to their skins, and then they have these little projectors that you can unlock. Some of this stuff you just get from the store. Some of it you get from ranking up the vendors. Some of it's from the season pass. This one I got from ranking up with Zavala. I guess the ghosts have lore too. That's interesting. I don't read a lot of this lore stuff because it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just I don't. It's all short stories. I'd rather just have like a basic, straightforward something. This is like a pirate ghost. Um, appearance is all pretty straightforward. You can have like nine or I guess 10 emblems, kind of in this menu to swap between, if you want. Same thing with the amount of sparrows. Same thing with the amount of ships. Sparrows can't really do anything about. You can change the color. This is all just kind of locked in. I think 160 is the maximum speed. It's not. You can tell when you're like driving around if someone's going 160 or 150. Otherwise, all the sparrows technically have the same body shape. They all have the same hitbox. It's just kind of like your preference. Ships are nothing. Finishers, I think we went over that a little bit. It has like you don't have a lot of these because you can only unlock them either through the season pass or from paying for them in the store, and they're really expensive. So I don't really buy any of those. You can kind of select which ones you have. Unlock. Oh, so that I don't get rid of it. Yeah, you can kind of put them away if you don't want to have. It'll just pick a random finisher from this. So you can kind of like store it, put it away if you don't want to have that finisher going on. I think you've probably gone over appearance customization yourself. You got the one thing they finally fixed the order of the shaders. Um, this affects all the color of the whole thing. You can change the color of each. I think you know that. Again, it's like you've got the ornaments that you can equip to it if you got them unlocked or got them from the store. Oh no, what was I using? By this guy. Exotic armor, you can't change the appearance of. You can change the color of it, but you can't. You gotta pay if you want to change the appearance of it. I wouldn't pay for that. Same thing with exotic weapons. You can't even change exotic weapons colors. You just get the you just have the option to change the skin to like the regular way that it looks, or this overly shiny way that I got. I don't know what else is here. You got the emotes. A lot of these you just get randomly from the store. Sometimes you unlock them from challenges or get them from like the seasonal stuff. You can equip like 4 emotes at a time. You just kind of like select it and select which slot you want to put it in. That's pretty easy. I guess it's the arrow keys on the keyboard. I think that's pretty much everything here. This is on the other page. We'll cover that in a second. Inventory, glimmer is the money. Legendary shards you get from smelling stuff. Silver is the real world money that you pay from the store. Bright dust is in-game money. A lot of this stuff just kind of tells you what it is and what you'll use it for. This is for like building. These kind of are rarer. The color, the rarer it is. This helps you get exotic weapons. That's how I fish. That's my fishing tackle box. There's keys for like treasure chests or keys for like seasonal quests. A lot of it's just kind of all the random stuff that you pick up. Like I don't even need these. I can just get rid of those. It's garbage. A lot of this stuff had like a bigger purpose. Like this, you unlock stuff on Europa with this, but now I just have a bunch of them. These kind of are the most important ones. These guys here and these guys here. If you get these, you just kind of want to hold on to them. Upgrade modules, you probably get plenty of them as time goes on. This is kind of like these. Oh, any engrams that are in this slot, you can't open yourself. You got to go to Rahul in the tower, and he'll unlock them for you. Exotic engrams can just be a random drop, one random exotic. I don't know how you get them. If you buy something like an ornament in the store, it'll show up in this menu first for some modifications, and you got to unlock it. So if you get like something from the store and you're like, why don't I have this? It might be in this menu here. Otherwise, it's just kind of like mods that I picked up that are kind of just like specific to certain areas or in this menu. I think that's everything here. I don't know if I want to keep going or maybe stop with this video. So I think I want to stop with this video because it's been going for a while now.